Okay. Hey, White Sox fans, can you believe it? Want to know when's the last time the White Sox were undefeated, or I don't know, a game over 500 or whatever it is? Listen, they won 3-2, come from behind fashion, exactly the way you'd want to win to be, except for a lot of ways you didn't want to win to be. But we'll talk about those. Let's start about the positive with the positive stuff first. It is, well, and listen, obviously I'm flabbergasted, and we're just going to run around and talk about what was exciting about this win. Obviously, Dylan Cease just cranked things out, an unbelievable performance, especially given what we saw in spring training, which he was warming up, but I don't think any of us expected this. Inefficient offense, but efficient enough, really stifling the world champions. I guess I can't quote market because they are still the world champions. Oh God, all year they'll be the world champions. But let's go around, talk about maybe the thing that jumped out at you that was most interesting, good, bad, otherwise, about this game, as it is the post game, and we are 1-0 in first place in the AL Central. Brian O'Neill, tell me something that really got you excited about this game.
I am going to preempt the negative Nellies here, who are going to complain about people being left on base, and say we got a lot of people on base against the ace of the defending World Series champions. The Astros are predicted to be one of the best teams in baseball, and yeah, it would have been nice to see them all come around, but they got on base. People were hitting, the approach was good. Yeah, we would have liked to see him score, but that'll happen. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed every last second of it.
Copy editing the podcast, copy editing the baseball game. It is Brian O'Neill getting out ahead of the negativity. Oh, good luck with that one, Brian. Okay, Chrystal, what you got? You want to go negative? I don't know. What you got?
No, healthy Yasmani hitting bombs. That's my guy. So healthy Yasmani doing what he does best and getting on all of the bases.
Allie, welcome.
That was
What's got you excited?
Shot.
Dylan Cease, 10 strikeouts, no walks.
Yes.
One hit batsman, but no walks. For a guy that led the league last year in walks, that is incredible.
Painting. Every pitch he threw was hitting the frame. Again, however truly accurate that is, that's not necessarily framing or whatever. He was painting, and painting at high velocity. Oh, that's pretty sweet. That's going to get anybody excited about the White Sox. Jacki, good vibes. Give me some good vibes, Jacki.
Bro, Raylo coming out to close the game at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, the home run. Sorry about that. But closing out the champs, man. Raylo, that's my guy. First career save. There's a lot of firsts in this game. But I'll hold back so that other people can talk about him.
Fair enough. Yeah. Also, first time Yasmani had to come out and say, okay, with the slider, when you're throwing 100, maybe we don't use that. But okay, again, first. Dante, what's happening? You've had a long day, Dante.
Real long day, but
good. And you've
shout out to Tim Anderson. Shout out to Tim Anderson. Just getting on base. Just every at bat, it felt like he was just doing something good. Whether he's working a count, walking. Like, great job, Tim.
Melissa, I think I know your answer, but I won't spoil it. Tell me what got you most excited about this win.
Actually, it's Andrew Vaughn.
Oh, all right.
I mean, major pressure situation. Boom, AV does it. I was pretty exciting. I was really happy for him to see that, especially in front of Jose Abreu.
Yeah. And back to back with Eloy, who did not have the same success, a guy who's a little bit newer to the game, and he did come through. Ryiin, give it to me.
I think Dylan Cease retired 18 straight Astros at one point. Like, the man was on fire. I said, yesterday, that I was worried about the staff. If this is the Dylan Cease we're getting, like game one opening day, if this is the Dylan Cease we're getting, okay, I'm a bit more of a believer in the staff then.
Yeah.
Like 18 straight, cutting them down, filthy stuff.
Yeah. And to know what Brian said, listen, this wasn't the Royals. This was the Astros. No. Noted.
No,
for sure.
Astros.
Noted.
Like these are the legit world champs this time. Like they won. They won. We got to give them that due. I hate them. They're gross. They're cheaters. But 18 straight Astros on their home turf opening day. That's big.
Listen, Ryiin, they they signed up with us at the right time. I'm going to say so far, good luck, charm. It's you. Until it's not, it's you. So thank you for being here. Malachi, what you got?
I almost ruined it. I almost ruined it in the night. I
Okay.
almost ruined it, but duck and cover. Thank
All
you,
right.
Raylo, for saving my ass.
Yeah. All right. All right. Yeah. Uh-oh. So it's you who called the slider. All right. Malachi, what you got?
There were a few separate times late in this game where it looked like things were going to unravel, where at various points over the last couple years, things really would have snowballed, whether it's after the initial run scores on the wild pitch or after Graveman gives up the lead off double that comes about 5 feet away from untying the game in the 8th inning. He gets the ground ball double play, pitches around it, whether it's Raylo getting shaken up by the home run early and then putting the tying run on base. Those are all points where it feels like in the recent past they would have found ways to give away the game, and they didn't. They stepped up and locked it down. So hard to not feel good about that.
Like a great podcast host, I'll bury the lead. We'll get to Dylan because what are we gonna say? We're just gonna gush about him and start to weep, and we're suddenly gonna find ourselves not be able to find the English to describe him. So let's talk about other things. Let's tip off where Brian was at. Let's talk about this offense because yes, of course. Excellent point by Brian, but of course we also don't want to see this type of efficiency. Right. There were some bad performances. I don't care who was pitching. You got bases, the sacks packed. You got to convert something. Eloy's got to be able to drive the ball. I mean, okay, we're nitpicking. They won, so again, relatively speaking, let's hammer into this offense. Are there concerns? Any of you are seeing? Is this a first game like jitters? They had to watch the goofy ring ceremony and see them with their insipid golden lettering on their uniform. I had to sit through all of that, and yet took them a little while to get going, but when it counted, Andrew Vaughn, shout out for sure. They converted. First opening night offensive performance. What are we feeling?
My only nitpicky thing is Moncada trying to stretch that double to a triple. Like, you're down by a run. It's opening day. Like, that's not the theatrics I need. I don't know. I know the challenge stood. He kind of looked like he might have been safe when I was looking at it on the TV. New York didn't think so, but I just think like it's so early. Like, we don't need to be doing that. But then again, like, when were we doing that last season? Like, that's the kind of stuff that maybe we needed to be, you know what I mean? So yeah. I don't know. That was like my one nitpicky thing of like, why?
Yeah, it's fair. Yoan did not have the best game, but and I think the troubling thing to me, Allie, is that again, I haven't seen all the angles. I'm trying to write and watch and steal a feed. Thanks, Adrian. But I don't think he looked up. You got to look up when you're making the turn. I mean, if you want to blow, even if you blow through it, but you at least looked up and then you said, hey, listen, it's on me. I made this decision. But when you're not even looking up at your coach, that could be a problem. He's not ascendant superstar status, just be able to make those decisions and not have to answer for them. But anyhow, we'll stop picking on you on. Okay. Other offensive thoughts, good, bad, otherwise.
I had some thoughts. Oh,
go ahead.
I guess I'll go. All right. So my thoughts were basically, is it really nitpicking when they had the bases loaded twice and got nothing out of it? Like, I don't think that's nitpicking as much as it's still an issue. Like, yes, game 1, we won, great. But the point of the season being 162 games is that you have 162 games to work through this stuff. So, good start, but it could have been much better. Because, like, this game, between that and the Yoan base running mistake, between those two things, this could have been a blowout instead of a one-run game. So just something to think about.
I got to say, Dante, he sees a Cubs shutout on opening day. He gets a little chippy, but all right, Jacki, I think you need to jump in here.
I do. Y'all listen, we are Chicago White Sox fans, right? And good times do not come often. And I am not ready to be critical yet.
Good vibes!
I'm not ready. So let's talk about Oscar Colas in his first career hit. Let's talk about him starting rallies. I'm not ready for that yet. Let's go. Let's go.
I will say I had the ESPN, I had the radio feed on with the TV because I just can't stand ESPN. The radio call of his first hit was nice. I'm not a Lancaster fan, but he captured the moment really nicely. Whereas apparently the ESPN feed was doing some have Pedro Grifal in the back of a car. Like I saw it on my screen, but I didn't have that audio, so I didn't know what the hell that was.
That was managers in cars getting coffee.
What the?
Is that what that was? I was.
What is that?
It was whoever was with Pedro in the car. I don't remember his name, so I apologize. But they were college roommates, so they were like in the car, like chatting, and like Pedro was managing, and he was calling, but not the time.
But not the time.
Ryiin, don't try to bring this down. Oscar Colas, first career hit.
I'm saying that Len captured the moment really great on the radio, because it seemed like I was one of the few people who actually had the radio feed on. So I want to give a shout out to Len, who I'm not the biggest fan of, but the radio call was nice, and they gave him his proper due, and that hit me. It was a good moment. If you can find that audio, it was a nice moment.
I personally wanted to know more about the class that Eduardo Perez and Pedro Grifal were in together, where they first met and became longtime friends. I was fascinated by that, and I could not get enough about it. I was like, how long are they going to stick with this? That was a pretty nutty moment. But, ESPN got to be ESPN. They spent the money to put the camera in the limo, so they're going to use the footage. Right between his legs. That's a pretty good Major League first hit. You can't place that any better. Offensive, are we petered out on the offense?
No, I was given my positive. I'm trying to stay positive. I gave my moment. Anybody, give me something positive.
Yeah.
I mean, if we want to go on pitching, I can give you some positive, because although I didn't love what Aaron Bummer did, he still stuck it through. He made it through the inning. Good job on that. Like I said, I didn't love it. Kendall Graveman, like someone said earlier, great job working out of that. And then Raylo, great job. But as we all know, 10 strikeouts gets you the badge of honor today, probably.
I don't know. He was on pace for 27 and he blew it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of disappointed. Like that's
he was letting guys even foul balls off.
Can you believe it,
Brian?
Yeah.
I mean,
it was a good start. Yeah.
Men will literally go on a podcast,
Yeah, and Aaron Bummer, I don't know what follows him around. He really, I know he gets hurt a little bit. He really seems to be like the sad sack reliever of this staff over the years. It just seems like whatever's going to happen sort of happens to him. I actually sort of feel a little bad for him. He got squeezed on that 3-2 pitch. He got out of it. Wild pitch, weird ricochet. It just was sort of like bad luck. I really felt, I don't know if every outing of his I feel for him, but I sort of felt for him here. He sort of got a bad, I don't know. I thought he sort of got a bad
luck. His defense lets him down, or the pitcher drops it, or the ump blows the call, and he always ends up giving up a run. Like his FIP has to be great, because usually he pitches great, and then something bad happens that isn't his fault, and we all get on him, but it's not his fault because his team lets him down. Another story.
Yeah. But the defense this time around, this game was pretty impressive. Were there gaffes? I mean, other than the fact that stolen base could have been taken backwards by, what was that, Pena, I think. And I didn't see much on either side. No. Not that there was maybe a lot of opportunity to try to exploit the new rules. But I don't know. Defensively, it seemed like everything was pretty solid. Romy Gonzalez, solid in right field. Luis Robert didn't have to contend with Tal's Hill.
And Yaz back there, like all over, like blocking like a hockey goalie. I thought he looked pretty limber back there doing, blocking a few things here and there. So I'll give it to him.
I will say ESPN wasn't impressed with their broadcast, but they were very complimentary of Yaz behind the plate. But when your pitching strikes out 13 of 27 outs, it's pretty easy to coast defensively. So I think Yo had some nice picks at third. I will say he had some nice scoops there. So that was nice to see. Yeah. And Romy had a line out and a fly out, I think, which was good. So overall,
here's a good vibe for you, Jacki. I thought the Roger Clemens broadcast was going to be horrifying, and I found myself not terribly enough. He didn't seem to make too many I won't say he was good. He didn't. There are way worse broadcasters. I know he wasn't really carrying any heavy load at all, but thought there were going to be a lot more homerism, a lot more back in the old days when we gobbled PEDs and I plunged my arm into the barrel of rice to get strong. I thought we'd hear a lot more about them. Sort of didn't. So there's a good vibe for you, Jacki.
He was really blandly banal. He kept saying stuff like, well, you got to stay with your best pitch. And it's like, I mean, that's boring,
I
but
love this game.
not
I
terrible.
was
Yeah.
really impressed by
He
Dylan
was basically
Cease.
doing the Magic Johnson Twitter thing, but on a broadcast.
Magic. Everybody's
Empty
best friend.
sound bites just to let people know he's present.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is a good enough time. Where a host would say, let's take a break. Okay, let's take a break. We'll be back in a minute. We're talking more. The good vibes are going to increase. They're not going to decrease. And Jacki Krestel will lead us there. That's what she's here for. Middle square, at least on my screen. And she's going to basically take over the second half of this podcast when we come back to it. White Sox fans, the White Sox won 3-2. Seemed like it might be an extra inning game. Seemed like it might be a quick ending once the Astros went up 1-0. And in previous seasons, like, I don't know, last season, the White Sox might just roll up and blow away. They did not. They fought back. I believe my headline involved ruthless inefficiency. That is a little bit of what was going on here because, boy, they were not inefficient. It sounds negative, Jacki. But listen, they prevailed. They beat the world champions. They made them cry into their ring boxes. And let's just go and punch him right back in the mouth tomorrow as well. But we're not ending this podcast. What are you talking about, Brett? Let's talk more about good things about this game. I guess maybe it's Dylan Cease time. He sucker punched us a little bit with a bit of a languid spring. He ended on a real strong note. So this wasn't completely bizarre to anticipate an opening night start like this, but this was better than any of us could have expected. This is as good as I suppose he's ever been. Impressions of Dylan. I know it's going to just be us gushing and losing our ability to speak English, but throw some stuff at me.
He looks so bad in spring training. And I was really, really worried that pitch clock was just going to completely screw him up. But oh my goodness, he was on like a god level tonight.
Malachi, let me jump in and hit you with this because I know among probably many of you, but you definitely pay a lot of attention. You've written great analysis on pitching for us. One thing that was brought out, I think by Clemens, my God, what is wrong with me? I'm really giddy after this win, about he's calling his pitches. He's calling them immediately. He knows what he's doing. Is this something that we've seen from Dylan in the past? Did Tony have such a heavy hand that, they had to look to the dugout and spend 10 minutes looking, seeing what the pitch call was after he woke up? Or is this something that Dylan has been doing? Because this could really be a key to the change in a way to sort of get on top of that pitch clock.
Yeah, what I was going to say anyway, that I thought was really pleasantly surprising that we had kind of talked about during the spring and that we had seen him struggle with during the spring was the pitch clock. And he looked like he was possessed by the ghost of Mark Burley for a little while there. I mean, he was really just catch, throw. Clemens, every third pitch or so, Clemens would remind us that he was in fact calling his own pitches, but there was a ton of intent behind everything. He would catch the ball, he would set up, and he would pitch. It was like a completely different pitcher than the Dylan Cease we've really gotten to know over the past 3 years, and even that we saw at times during the spring. So the fact that he was able to just kind of bust that out and just really move things along like that and attack his spots with confidence. He threw first pitch strikes to like 16 out of 18 or 16 of the first 18 hitters or something like that. I mean, when have we ever, even, at his peak last year, he wasn't doing stuff like that. He was not getting ahead and pitching with that kind of confidence. So it's really something to see, and it's really impressive. I mean, screw me and he might be a 3-starter analysis.
Yeah, forget everything I said. You're not really very good at this pitching analysis.
I mean, before last year, I was guilty of calling Cease a 3. So, his emergence was pretty spectacular last year. I know that this year pitchers are able to call on the pitch comm from the gloves. They're like a lot of pitchers are calling their own game. And that's something that's new this year that MLB has approved. So maybe that was something he was working on in the spring. I didn't notice it, but he was catching and throwing. Like this is hands down the best I've ever seen him. And I like I said yesterday, I was super concerned about how he looked. I was worried about the rosin bag because he always liked to go to the rosin bag after every batter. And like how the pitch clock would affect him, but he was unfazed, he was unbothered, he was in a rhythm, like Burley-esque, if you will. Never seen anything quite like that from him. And again, if this is Dylan Cease, we're going places.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to bring up about Cease's start, like, yeah, everything was great, everything was sexy. Can we talk about the velocity? The velocity was up. He was hitting 98 consistently, and that's something we haven't seen from him, especially in spring. So if he could, I hope that it wasn't just like kind of first day adrenaline, although it's okay if it was, but I would love to see that continue.
We had Hunter Green hitting like 105 purportedly. Raylo, I think this is close to certainly the first time he's strung together hundreds, I think. You got Dylan hitting it like that. I mean, I know this is not like, a hot gun all across baseball, but there does seem to be weird. I mean, maybe that is opening day adrenaline for all of these players. I don't know, but you're right, Jacki. It's really nice to see. And Malachi's point, and I guess all the points we're making here is, I mean, you know how efficient he was because he was at like 68 pitches. He already, I think, had his 10 strikeouts. I mean, just the math there tells you he's not throwing many balls. He's not letting guys spoil many pitches. I mean, he's basically just strike. And I mean, that's perfection.
Yeah, I was texting, and I think it was 63 pitches with 8 Ks. So like 63 pitches with 8 strikeouts. That is some hella efficiency.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too, like, with the pitch clock, the big concern for low pitchers has been like they're getting gassed between pitches because they don't have as much time to recover. So like Jacki said, and like Brett said, like, I don't know if that's opening day adrenaline, but the fact that that was a concern in the spring and we were kind of seeing that, with Kopech only hitting like 94, those types of things, like maybe the spring did allow them to adjust. I don't know. But the other thing too with Cease is like control has always been an issue. And so the fact that he just like some of those corners he was painting on those looking strikeouts were just immaculate. Like you cannot hit a corner like that any better than how he was hitting tonight. And so the fact that like precision was there for him was just like, I feel like just adds another layer to his pitch arsenal. The other thing too is Pedro Grifol got interviewed, I think in like the 3rd or the 4th inning, and he was talking about how Cease had 3 pitches going. And so that was nice to see. Like I saw him working in his curveball in addition to his fastball and his slider. So it was nice to see him have like all 3 of those pitches working in the strike zone.
Yeah, Len Casper said like in the 5th or 6th that he hadn't thrown his changeup at all. Like I hadn't noticed that, but he was working with 3 pitches for most of that game. That's damn impressive.
And well, in his knuckle curve, because I was doing the 6-pack, and his knuckle curve was the one that actually had the highest whiff rate, which isn't typical for him because usually it's the slider. So I mean, he was just magical.
And Melissa inadvertently teasing tomorrow's next day column from Malachi, talking about Dylan Cease's curveball. Oh, look at this harmony. The Bradys are together. They're together for good. We're going to never lose again. Only 9 strikeouts from the offense. And don't worry, this is not bad vibes, Jacki. So hold on. That actually is sort of a success. Given the way the offense was playing, they did get traffic on the bases, even though they weren't converting on that traffic. 9 Ks almost seems like a win. Now, I think it's 1 walk, not a great ratio, of course, but 9 Ks against Valdez, against that bullpen on opening night. I'm going to call that maybe a success. Plus the contact, much more so than Houston. I think we've just talked about the reason why they weren't getting the hard contact. But I mean, it wasn't only Dylan Cease in this game. The huge majority of hard contact in this game came from the White Sox, even on loud outs. Those are exciting things about the offense, even though, again, the efficiency, you really wish you could have broke through at least in one of those bases loaded situations, got the win. And maybe that's in store for tomorrow. If they can keep this exit velocity going, now you're going to start converting some balls into the gap, starting to put Houston on their heels as they feel the pressure of this hungry White Sox team that knows the Brady grid's behind them. And, a few things fall, and this series could really turn to what Dante wished upon a star a few podcasts ago. And that was, hey, I'll be really excited if the White Sox win this series. And hey, we're 1 game closer to that, Dante. What else we got? Okay, listen, I blew it for the pregame podcast, so I won't do it for the post. Didn't even get really take on opening night from all of you. So how about we adjust this to the game thread poll, which I did ask our readers how they thought this series was going to play out. My vote, and I'll stick with it, even though I want to change because I'm full of the good vibes now and a win under our belt. I said they go 1-3. I did think they'd win tonight, but I do think they'd lose the next 3. I would revise that now, but I'll stick with it. Let's go around and talk about how we think this is going to play out. It seems like a split is way more possible. Malachi, how do you think this is going to play out the rest of the way?
I mean, if Lance Lynn or Lucas Giolito are in midseason form, then we could very easily see them steal one of them and come out with a series win. I probably wouldn't have guessed before the series that you would get like peak form out of 2 of the 3 between Cease, Lynn, and Giolito, but I'm not feeling as confident in my feeling there as I was a day ago. So it's feasible.
Yeah, now we're 50-50. Our odds improved. We got one in the bag now. So now it's just like, all right, whoever. Ryan, what's the thought going forward? I
didn't vote in the poll. I'm a bad person. But after this start, if the offense can excise some of the ghosts of Mendocino that we saw tonight, if we can actually get some hits, a split's easily. Like a split between Lynn and Giolito, a split's doable. I don't think a sweep is possible, but even 3, like depending on what we get out of our next 2 starters, 3 out of 4 isn't bad. And I would walk away, like you take 3 out of 4 from the Astros opening weekend. That's a pretty big positive.
Yes, and we're going to have 400 people on the pregame podcast for the home opener because the whole site's going to be on fire, and everybody is want to have something to say about this the White Sox team that they never gave up faith on. Melissa, what's going to be the rest of the way?
I think we're gonna walk away with the split, and I'm gonna be thrilled with that. I think Gio sat there and watched what Dylan did tonight and is all fired up, and I think he's gonna come out and he's gonna be all on it. I think he's gonna do awesome, but the Astros feast on Lance, and so I think even if Lance, is gonna have a good season, unfortunately, the Astros see Lance Lynn and they're like, woohoo! and then I think Kopech is still, I think he's still got some work to do, so I can see the champs taking him down. So I think 2-2 is what we're gonna get.
But Kopech gets the home opener.
Thankfully we're not going to have. We are going to spoil redacted out there for Game 4. So yeah, what are we talking about? A sweep ain't happening. Ain't happening. Oh God, why did I fast forward and ask about the entire series? Couldn't we just make this a 3-game series? Hey Jacki, let's pretend this is a 3-game series. How's it going to go for the White Sox?
So in the poll, I won't lie, I did say that we would only win 1. But after tonight, I'm feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can come away with a split, and I would be thrilled with that. Man, the Astros are very hard to beat. They are a very good team, as much as we may hate them. They are a very good team, and they don't stop. They are relentless. So if we come away with a split, I will be happy. But I still think it's going to be 1-3. Sorry. Bye.
They're mortals and we're in their heads now. We got a chance. Although the more you think about it, with Lynn's history in Houston and redacted, it's pretty much Gio or nothing. So come on, Lucas. Dante, how do you think it's going to how's it going to wrangle out? Do you think there's a chance you're going to get your 4 or your 3 that you're hoping for in the earlier podcast?
So the thing is, I don't think we're gonna get 4 because, again, like Melissa, I forgot that SP5 is being SP4 this time. So that's not happening. But I definitely can see a split because I don't know about Lance tomorrow, but I have faith in my boy Gio. So hopefully Gio could pump out 6 strong like Dylan did tonight, and we give at least a split. The Astros are great, so this happens to them. It really should be a 3-game series, though, because I don't want to see that, man.
Yeah. That's going to be fun coverage. Oh, boy. Can't wait. Can't wait to finally do it in the regular season.
What coverage?
But yeah, nice. Thank you, Dante. Off the hook.
I'm baseball.
Excellent. Allie, how do you think it's going to play out?
I know that Lynn doesn't have great history, but I really have faith in Lance Lynn.
It's a new year.
I'm really excited about how he looked in the World Baseball Classic, and he had a not great last spring outing and was directly quoted saying we just went from very exciting to very dull. So I think just given the new environment, the team is going to be buzzing. They came out, they won in a very exciting fashion. So I'm gonna optimistically say I think we can leave Texas with 3 or 4.
Those, and they got the goofy fans wearing like the space helmets and stuff. It's got a uniquely Texan World Baseball Classic vibe. So yeah, maybe, and they're gonna be loud.
Yeah.
Because God knows they can't open the roof, so it's gonna be loud. So
Yeah, and Presley was definitely like shaking his arm off, like he's not 100%. They don't have Lance McCullers Jr. Altuve's out. Like I think there's some key pieces they're missing that could allow us to slip in with 3. So
I mean, let's talk about good vibes. We punched their closer in the mouth. He decided to get cute and like waste a couple pitches, and they left some cheese right there for not that it was easy for Vaughn to slap to the wall. For goodness sake, that was a closer. All right. I'm with
Why
you,
did he
Jacki.
throw him a fastball? Why did he throw him a
And where he threw it, I know
fastball?
he didn't want to throw it there, but where he threw it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chrystal, can you keep the good vibes going?
I can, because I have faith in my big bastard.
Indianapolis field office.
I have faith in Lucas. And so I'm going to go 3 of 4, and they are going to tee off on that 4th pitcher, redacted. I'm cheering for them to tee off on him. But yeah, 3 or 4.
By that time they got 3. The plane is turned on for first pitch. It's like, okay, let's just get home, forget it.
Maybe he'll miss the plane.
Dude, just do a
They take the first 3.
Just do a classic Tony La Russa and waste a Sunday game for that guy, because like bring Luis Garcia back, bring back all like Adam LaRoche, bring all of those people back. Hey, screw it. Bring Drake LaRoche too.
That's going to take some very creative use of the 60-day IL.
Captain's with attitude.
Yeah. Brian, let's bring it back to you.
I mean, Chrystal summed up what I was thinking. Lance is going to come out tomorrow, snorting, snarling, and he's going to be all intense. And I think Lucas is going to surprise us. And then I don't actually want SP4 to miss the plane. I want him to be maybe like too close to the engine when it turns on. I think it's even better. I don't want the plane to miss him, I suppose. But yeah, I think that's the best outcome. I think we're going to win 3 or 4. I think they're
Trust
excited.
me, part of my good vibe did involve some bodily harm there, but after a win, it just doesn't seem so couth. And Lord knows, if anything, Sox Populi is consummately couth. So yes, we won't necessarily go there, but yes, I wouldn't necessarily be bothered if,
as long as no planes are harmed in the process. As long as no planes are harmed in the process, and they can fly home just fine, everybody will be okay. We have to care about those planes.
One step back and 2 steps forward. Yeah, it is coming. We can rest easy in that. It may not come with the White Sox, but it is coming for a jag bag like that. All right,
I think we learned today sometimes justice happens.
Yeah, believe it or not, even in this world. Hey, speaking of that, what an opening day. Again, I think I had said they could lose by 10,000 runs and it'd be a good opening day. Don't necessarily need to delve more into that, but it's just been a good day, and even better. Cherry on the top, a White Sox comeback victory in Houston. All right, quick. We don't need to get into this too much because it sort of brings the vibe down a little bit, but seeing Jose, everybody had their reactions and usually involves some sort of tears or crying inside. It was just sort of a bummer to see it. It's like you don't want him to not be happy, but it really sort of sucks to see him running the handshake line for the opening introductions and see him looking just like he did with the White Sox, except, he's wearing a very different uniform now.
Okay, but I saw a hilarious tweet about that Andrew Vaughn trying to catch the ball and failing, and it was like, do you know who would catch that? Jose Abreu. And I
saw that one too. I saw that one too. I was like, you're not wrong. Like, I wish you were, but you're not wrong. For the record,
also, Jose booted it. Jose, he did the Bill Buckner.
They said that.
Yoan's double was through Jose's legs. So, I mean, I don't know. I wish him the best. The best way I can put it is like, clearly he wasn't happy in his relationship, and so he ended it and sought something else out. And like, I wish him the best, and I hope that he is successful in Houston. I hope that we are successful against him when we play Houston, but he's on my fantasy baseball team, so I hope for that sake he does well. But I was a little happy watching him strike out against Dylan Cease. I will just say that.
Oh, come on. It's us or them.
Right. I wasn't upset about that. Like, his first AB hurt. That was painful. But after that, you know what? He's an Astro. And it hurts to talk about him being gone. But when we're playing Houston, sorry, buddy, you're an Astro.
Don't worry, they'll retire the uniform in May and we'll have good vibes about it. Don't worry, I'm still sticking to it. I'm sticking to it. Me and Jordan, we're sticking to it. It's happening. All right, well, let's wind this up. We are doing another post-game podcast. Oh, not tomorrow, although I don't know. We might be excited enough to just call a spontaneous one. We'll definitely have one after the home opener. That's Monday, so that's when we'll be next with you on a post-game podcast. But we got more stuff coming. We got Chrystal doing visiting dugout. We got the farm report, a string of 4 coming with me and Darren Black. Anyone else wants to join us about the farm system? And of course, we got a pregame podcast coming up for home opener when we celebrate the White Sox at 4-0 or 3-1 on top of the AL Central and never looking back again. Pedro Grifol, manager of the year, and also classmate of Eduardo Perez. I hope we get to hear a lot more about that. I'm looking forward to all the cutting room floor footage from the back of that car. It's going to be great. Thank you, all 8, completing the Brady square for us. We are 1-0. Let's just keep rolling with it. We'll be talking with you sooner than you are ready for us.